Good morning. So, Micah here talking about love languages. So, my last video was a little longer because you can't talk briefly about shadow work, but you can talk about love languages, hopefully shorter amount of time. I've seen a lot of oversimplification of what love languages are when I look online, and I wanted to kind of delve into how we don't need to oversimplify it. I think that if we oversimplify it, then we also overthink it. I think the most important thing about love languages is to have a conversation with the people that are close to you and find out what they need, if they need anything, and share with them what's important to you if you feel like you're not receiving that. So, I will say where the shadow aspect comes in, because I have seen posts about if you didn't get something as a child that you needed, then that is a love language for you now, which seems a little black and white. I don't think that's necessarily true um, for everyone all the time. We're all very unique individuals, but it's something you can reflect on. Like, I do appreciate physical affection. Um, I didn't get a lot of that. I didn't get a lot of words of affirmation, but I did get some. And what's the other one? Gift giving. We weren't big gift givers in my home. So I really like getting gifts, but not a lot because where am I going to put it? I don't like trying to figure out what to do with something that somebody gives me because I'm a very particular individual. So, you know, gift cards are fine. So I think that other people though might want to demonstrate their love in ways that they didn't receive something they needed, you know? So I love to give gifts more than I like to receive them. I think maybe partly because I didn't get a lot of them and it's just fun. Um, but you have to check with people. Are they like I am, where they don't really like receiving gifts unless someone's 100% confident they know that it's something you will need or you've said you wanted? Otherwise, should I bother? You know? Um, because there's a way you can personalize each expression of love too, right? So for me, acts of service, I'm very independent. It's my lowest one of need, but I'm with someone who likes to help, is a helpful acts of service giver. So I've learned to enjoy someone helping me with things and let go of the control quite a bit because that is in itself a trauma response. I grew up in a home where I was the best cook. We learned very early on, and I enjoyed it the most. So when I cook for people, it's my biggest love language is making meals for people. And because I put everything into it, I put intention into it. I know what each ingredient does for someone's health and well-being, and I put intention into it. It is all of my love and best of intentions is in the food that I give someone. If they reject it, and they're allowed to say, this isn't my thing. I don't normally like to eat this, but you got to give me another chance. Please. I just won't make it again because I don't want to force somebody to eat something they don't like, obviously. But there's so many millions of options of food out there. There's ways to work around something if somebody doesn't like something that you make. I digress. But I think that, again, part of a conversation, right? You have a conversation before I cook. The first thing I ask someone is, are you allergic to anything? Is there anything you don't like? And then I work around that. I don't just surprise people with meals without asking about allergies or sensitivities or dislikes. I mean, it just seems kind of logical and loving to take the other person into consideration. If you're about to give them something, I mean, eating is one of the most intimate things we can do. Whatever we consume fuels this vessel and it regulates our mental well-being, emotional well-being, our physical well-being, spiritual even. So that is an important love language for me. But I've also had to learn to let go of identifying my self-worth around it because I would get so much positive reinforcement really only when I cooked for people from childhood to relationships to where now I still make these really big elaborate meals and it's just the two of us. And he's like, you don't have to go to all this trouble for just the two of us, you know? I mean, you're spending so much time in the kitchen and there's only two of us now. And part of it is just habit because I cooked for so many people for so many years. And part of it is this mindset of I won't be loved if I don't cook food. And, like when my son comes to visit, and sometimes he wants to go out, he's out of town, he's on vacation, he wants to go to a restaurant with his lady friend. And I'm trying to cook all the time, like, please let me love you, you know? So finding that balance. And a lot of times they want me in the room with them and not in the kitchen, which is also, again, a trauma response. Always finding busy work to do where you can't just sit and feel joy and connectedness and vulnerability with other people. And learning that balance has been I still have to work through it regularly. What is that balance? So I think it's an oversimplification to say that, my way of demonstrating love is acts of service because maybe part of the act of service is giving myself a break too, you know, acts of service for me and letting me just sit and be. So I think the core of everything is just have the conversation with people that you care about. Find out, you know, maybe they came from a really healthy environment where there was a lot of loving affection, and you are not an affectionate person by nature. I'm not. I'm incredibly sensitive anyway. Once I get comfortable with someone, I can be, but my energy and theirs has to start kind of resonating a little bit. uh, I I'm so sensitive and I've done so much energy work throughout the years that I can like I've never been able to really wear secondhand clothes. If I touch something, I will immediately feel what that person has felt. That's happened to me. I'm able to work with a client and feel what they're feeling. It doesn't hurt me or affect me, but that's because I'm so good with boundaries on the physical touch. I'm not a hugger. And people would take that so seriously when their natural way of being was to be physically affectionate and just hug. And I don't want to be touched all the time. I have to regulate this because I'm so sensitive to all of this. And it's a gift, you know. I've been able to channel and to do healing work and all kinds of things because I can keep those things separate. I know me versus someone else. And whenever I do any kind of healing work or channeling, I am able to feel fine, even vibrant sometimes afterwards, because I was able to take something unhealthy and transmute it into the earth, and we can all go about our day. So these are conversations to have with those that are close to you. There are a lot of people out there that have a lot more than how they grew up as children. They have health things, sensitivities that we don't know about that you would want to have a conversation about, right? And find out so that you don't take it personal, because the thing that disappoints us the most is our own expectations. If we expect another person to meet us where we're at without telling them where we're at and what our needs are, and hearing where they're at and what their needs are and what they're sensitive to, then that disconnect can cause lots of falling out in relationships. So that's my take on love languages. We can have fun and play little games of figuring out what your primary ones are, but at the end of the day, we're a little more complex than that. And each relationship is different and unique. And I'm sure we might have different love languages based on those relationships and what state of love we have for the individual, because there's different types of love, right? I've talked about that too. So let me know what you think. And if you have any questions, please feel free to message me through one of my social media accounts, or comment if you have other video ideas. Okay? Thanks. Keep on loving.